All right, guys. Well, we're live. Happy Friday.
Friday. It's all about Friday. I say it's all about Friday, but then I don't know who I'm kidding because every day kind of feels like the same day a little bit with this pandemic.
Right.
But but I still celebrate Fridays because I try to be intentional about bringing it down.
Absolutely. So, if you guys have never seen, like, who are these ladies on the screen? My name is Melissa Jakes. I am CEO and founder of Rescue Event Planning, known as Olivia Pope Live Events. I am a mom of two, a wife, business owner, and I just love, love, love helping people in business, showing up and being ready for business.
Yes. Hey, Melissa. So, Kim Ikemia Arrington here, CEO and founder of the Courageant Consulting Group, which is a professional services group that provides an array of professional development services. But I'm also the founder of the Dream Builders Network. And under the Dream Builders Network, I support two specific audiences. So I love to shout out my what I call parallelpreneurs. These are entrepreneurs who are building their businesses while working demanding full-time jobs. And then also my events people, right? So I'm an event professional. Woo woo. Shout out to Melissa and all the event pros out here. And I love to create experiences that really bring people together on one accord so that we can all be successful and grow in the direction that we choose, hitting our goals and all of the above. While I say all of that, my favorite role, my favorite title is mom, and sister, all of the above, daughter. But I really, really love being a mom. Like that's one of my favorite things. And so that's a little bit about me. And I'm super excited to be here with my girl Melissa because we have some things to talk about.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And so we're going to kick it off exactly what our topic is. What is stopping you from showing up?
Mm.
And showing up to what? Like Kim, what's stopping you from showing up to what?
Yeah. So first and foremost, before we get into the details, what's stopping you from showing up for yourself in general? Insert yourself into multiple scenarios. Tonight we are talking about your business, right? We're really talking about your business, but this also can apply across the board because usually when you're building a business, one thing I remember talking to one of my very first coaches and mentors about is that building a business is one of the biggest professional personal development courses I've ever taken. Like it is, you're building yourself as you're building a business. And so while you have these monetary goals and you're trying to build your brand and all of these other things, you are building yourself and you are a part of it. So what's stopping you from showing up? Because you have to be there every single time to hit these goals. And so that's why I'm so super excited to talk about this tonight.
Yes, absolutely. And so I know we're going to kick it off with um, investment in yourself. I know this is such a big topic where people really, especially when you're starting off in business,
Mhm.
you're trying to hold on to all your little coins and dollars. And how much is that course? How much is that coaching session? What does that cost? I have to buy a what? And really understanding the purpose of why you need to put the investment in it. And how, a lot of people say, oh, well, you buy Starbucks coffee, that's like $5 a day. If you save that for a month, that could have been put into something investing in yourself. So I definitely want to start with that. Investing in yourself. How does that relate to showing up?
I'm smiling so hard because I remember a former Kim, my former self. I was El Cheapo. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started my business, like I wanted $1 billion business, and I was just like, okay, and that is what literally everything you described. I'm like, oh, I can figure it out. I'm gonna opt into the free thing. I want all the free things. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna take that free thing, match it with that free thing. I know the details between the two,
Right.
so I can figure out. I can bridge the gap between the others, and then I'll probably get the other free thing, put those together, and I have what I need. And oh my gosh. Okay, so You can easily, not to say, no shade to freebies, because I have some great freebies. Melissa has great freebies. In business, you should have some good content that you can share publicly for free with your audience. So it's not a knock to that. But when you're trying to build a business, you do have to invest in yourself, right? You can't expect to move mountains and make major movements without investing in yourself. And it's not even just monetary, but let's start with the money first, because that's usually the biggest barrier, right? And that stops you from showing up. It is your barrier of entry to your next level of greatness. On the other side, that saying, on the other side of fear is everything that you're looking for, right? But also on the other side of that, investment sometimes is everything you need. Sometimes you can fast track your success by investing in opportunities. And who are we to say? I think about some of the great people that have supported me and coached me along the way. They have invested years in years in their growth, in their knowledge, and I want it for free, right? I mean, that's how I used to be, like, okay, well, just tell me a little something, or give me a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you don't invest in yourself, you slow yourself down. And so you got to choose, are you going to invest? Are you going to use the time or the money? So if you don't pay in certain cases, you're going to put that time back in by trying to figure it out that way. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is time investment. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, sometimes people want everything and don't want to put the work in.
Yeah.
I always talk about that microwave mentality is what I call it. You want to make your wish, put it in a nice little package, put it in the atmosphere, hit the button and wait 5 minutes, and voila, your meal, your goal is baked and prepared.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Melissa? When we talk about investing in yourself, what does that sound and feel like and look like to you?
It definitely is a roadblock for some folks, but I easily learned in the beginning, just like you. I was like, what? Oh no, I'm going to figure this out. The time that it takes for you to figure this out versus investing in the person who knows it.
Yeah.
Once you can get that light switch on in your brain to understand, it's better to pay for that advice, consulting with someone to kind of get that you're not taking 6 months to figure it out, where you could have done this in maybe 2 days or so, or even in an hour of consultation. Mm-hmm. It will save you so much time, headache, and it's worth it. And I learned that when I had my first business coach, to realize all the business structures that she helped me develop on how Rescue is beautiful and growing and flourishing today. That is not just by me getting a whole bunch of freebies. And when I did freebies, I complained about, how come I can't be that event planner on being interviewed and being featured, and why are they not showing me? Because it really is, in this world, regardless of business, right? It's who you know.
Ooh,
it is who you know. And when you're connected with people and you're paying for services, people will then scratch your back by the investment. Now, some people have invested time with mentors and saying, listen, and people can really feel the energy, right? Like, yo, I'm just really struggling. I can't financially afford you, but you know what? Can I be a part of your team? How can I help you grow? And then if you do have a little time for me, then you're able to advise me a bit some way. And I've seen that happen. And I've seen people grow that way too, because they're willing to be a servant first, and then the blessings will come down from being that servant first.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that is real, right? Like, real talk, everybody can't afford everything all the time. Sometimes you do have legit financial restraints. So I'm not in constraints. So I'm not knocking anybody that does not have the ability to invest. It's really about when you have the choice, or when you know that you could, let it be something else, you would drop those coins in a heartbeat. But now when it's really for you and your growth in your business, sometimes people don't feel, because it's not tangible, they can't physically see it, that it's not worth the investment. And then so they opt out. Right. But there are other ways, and you can put in that sweat equity. I did talk about doing some things yourself, and there is a time and place for that. And you definitely do want to invest that time, and then be a genuine and authentic person paying it forward. You can barter services sometimes, get great connections and support each other that way. But you also have to know how to do that strategically, right? So I always have my strategic hat always kind of turned to the side. I'm kind of turning it over a little bit, because you have to be very intentional about how you're going to leverage. It's but so much of time that you have. And if you are, I'm going to actually put a higher number. I used to say, if you're making just at six figures, like if you're making $100,000, and you're doing a lot of the work, if you're making under $100,000 and you're doing most of the work yourself, you need to probably try to figure out how to invest in some support so that you can be doing the revenue generating activity.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that, because even in our field, a lot of event planners, event producers, it is a one woman, one man show for a lot of folks, and or they feel like they can't afford some type of investment of staff or whatnot. And easily, when I realized that you can't, especially on event day in person, like, what? You need a team. Girl. By yourself. But when you really get that team, and when I first got the team and I saw how this was going so smoothly, the plan was flowing. It's almost like I was on autopilot. I said, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like to be CEO. Because, let me, I'm CEO and founder. No, to truly be CEO and the ship is running without you. That is truly showing up.
And you know what, Melissa? Oh, that's so good. It's so good on so many levels. I thought about something as it relates to connections. So I'm going to put a pin in that to talk about connections and how that plays into that. But I want to share really quickly, even for me, like the mindset behind it. Like my family, I come from a family of creatives and doers and just amazingly smart, talented people. My dad is so talented. He can create anything. Like, he is legit a superhero to me, even at my age. And I won't date myself, but I just don't happen to not be 21 anymore. But he is like my superhero, because this man can literally, if you can communicate it clearly, he can create it, right? And so I grew up looking at, we are a family of doers, right? We can be a little movement by ourselves, nimble and go into a huge production and really build it out, right? I had to release that, though, to a degree, because my mom is a genius analytically with numbers. I have definitely gotten my strategy brain from her, but then she's also very creative. She can literally sew anything, create, make anything when it comes to like, whether it's from drapery to tablecloths to clothes. She can do it. My dad can wire everything up. He's a master electrician. So as a kid, I walked into these situations picking it up like, okay, well, let me go make something. And that became, engrossed into my DNA. And I said, I appreciate it and I will never leave it. However, I had to realize that one day I was like, well, I am the boss and I have to make all these things happen. And although I can, you can, we can, doesn't mean that you should. Because when you are in a leadership role, you have to be able to be that decision maker that kind of oversees everything and decide what needs to take place. And that's where, if you are at a place of not necessarily having the budget to invest in your staff, I would say, if you have to invest in any area of your business, I would definitely say invest in your knowledge first. Somebody that has been a few steps ahead of you that can shorten the runway for you. Yeah. And then your right connections can help you get that team. Yeah. So I want to ask you, Melissa, because we know all about this. We are forever connected, right? Yeah. Right around the corner. Wait till the world opens up. I'm afraid for this world. We got the producer, the planner extraordinaire. about to create some things.
Right.
But let's talk about the power of connection. What would you say to someone that is working in a siloed space? We get that, right?
Yeah.
We can be heads down sometimes,
yeah.
And we're super talented, but what does connection mean to you, and why is it so important?
Connections to me is another currency. It is another currency in business. We have to think about going back to college. And some universities really pushed it and some universities didn't. But the Career Center always did. They said, are you networking? Do you have your resume, business card, right? So we were already getting prepped from the university level of making sure you're networking. Networking is making connections. And in business, you have to make connections to be able to show up. And it is very vital. Making connections leads to someone who either knows that they know your next client, they know the next contract that you can get, they know the next room you need to be in. It's just like making connections of trying to find a date. Someone connected you to your husband, to your boyfriend, to your realtor for your home. That's the same way. It's the same thing, that the same way you're trying to hustle for that is the same thing that you need to do in business, because that is the livelihood. That is the air. That's the oxygen for business, is connections.
I agree. I think about a lot of the connections I have been the biggest blessings of my life, because it has helped me skip steps in so many ways, right? Like the term, who's the plug, being the plug, being connected to the plug. A lot of times, you may have to go through the technicalities, but you're already a shoo-in for the opportunity, or you're already the vendor of choice, or you're already the whatever. And that's the power of connection and the power of network. But to be honest, you have to be very intentional about even your connection. You can't just sit home or stay alone and just say, all right, one day, or I'll connect with people. You have to really position yourself to be in those arenas where you can be exposed to the right person that's a vibe for you. You talked about, significant others. It's the same thing with that. Like, you're not going to just meet your boo, your bae, and it's like, oh, everybody's for me. It's that one person. But you would have never met him or her if you weren't exposed, if they weren't exposed to you.
Yeah.
So how do you, but you have to be in a place of being connected to even be there sometimes. And it's not to say that you can't meet the person in like 7-Eleven or what have you, but in the same sense, when you are in a well-connected environment, your likelihood for success just amplifies.
Absolutely.
And that's what women, I think we really do well and don't do well, right? We can do better. We can definitely do better, and we also do it well in terms of we're naturally, for the most part, nurturers. There can also be the catty side of women. We don't have to necessarily embrace that. But yeah, I'm glad that you talked about your perspective on connection, because it's so real.
Right. In thinking of like what would stop someone making a connection, is that fear, that worry, and that doubt. That imposter syndrome of, oh, well, why would she even talk to me? I had a meeting today with someone that I've been trying to get a meeting for a minute. And well, actually yesterday. And she is so cool, down to earth. Homegirl basically like, yeah, when you get it up and running, we'll do a whole little live with my community so they can come and support you onto your platform. I'm like, wow, that is amazing. But I had a connection to get me to her.
That part.
You gotta, and I didn't, how I got that person, it wasn't just sitting back. So I'm like, oh, well, one day, following up. That's a thing that I think that a lot of people use as an excuse of, oh, well, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll follow up. No, like, the one thing I did learn from the Career Center at Morgan State, they said, you better follow up via email, not the next day, It was so great meeting you today at X, Y, and Z, because their life is busy too. They
Yeah.
might have did 5 career days that day. So think of it the same thing of, if you're trying to get to that person, how many other people are trying to get to that person? If
Mm-hmm.
they might have met 5 Melissas that day. Which Melissa, what event? Especially now virtually. What networking event? What, where? So definitely make sure you follow up, because that's how you build a connection.
That's right. That's so true. Oh man, you right on the money. You said so many things that I'm like, oh man, I want to go into that deeper. First, the major thing that is not a surprise, but it is big and rampant is the fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fear in general. I do know that will stop people from moving forward. And although it's such a commonplace term and people talk about it, um, when we talk about fear holding you back, you have to really be honest with yourself and be aware of it, to be prepared to hit it head on, because it can literally paralyze your whole mission, your whole goal. It can derail your life.
Mm-hmm.
So many people live in fear for years and years and years, and the second that they take that first actually fearless step, or maybe not even fearless. I actually love to focus. I love courage, to not no shade to fearless, but to recognize that we're still afraid, but we're still about to do some things anyway. And so, I remember when when I had my first event, I was so afraid. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I actually told people that I'm going to do this thing. Like I announced it. Now it was worse to have announced it and really had to like show up versus
Yeah.
like planning it, right? The planning
Yeah.
is the easy part. You can sit there and mull over details all day, all day, all day.
Right.
And then I put it out and I'm like, oh my gosh, who's gonna show up? Is anybody gonna show up? And when you had a couple of people sprinkling in, registering, I'm like, okay, now these few folks gonna show up. Are they even gonna show up? And then you have to show up. And how do you show up? And I was so thankful that I never stopped, even in the midst of that fear, because had I not had the first event, then I wouldn't have had the second. Yep. And then I wouldn't have had the third. And then I wouldn't have been able to have the clients that needed to hear my story and me be able to experience the fear and knowing where they were, so that then now they can do their own events. And now they can, they know what to ask for. They know to recognize that this is a scary situation, but I know this is par for the course and I'm going to continue on. Yeah. And that's where you have to be. You have to recognize that everybody has some form of fear, but you cannot let that stop you.
Absolutely. And that's my whole theme this year, is do it and do it afraid.
Oh, I love that.
So, yes, that is right on the money for that.
You've been doing it. I'll tell you. I mean, in just what witnessing is beautiful. I mean, and that's what it's all about, right? Just putting action behind the terms and the encouragement, because I know I'm very motivational to my squad, my people that follow me. But it has to be more than just the terms and the feelings and that you can do it. It really, you have to lean into your own recommendations.
Yep.
Right. And it's that I don't know if you heard the saying, new levels, new devils. So it never goes away. You better exercise this muscle of moving in spite of fear, because every time you accomplish one goal, then here comes another fearful moment. So the question is, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Right? So I love this conversation, because we recognize that these are some of the things that can hold you back. Some of the other things you talked about, imposter syndrome, comparing yourself and not feeling like you are enough, you're ready, you're not ready. Starting to feel like at 1 minute you were hype, like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so great, and then it's like you like comparing and looking at everybody else, you're like, wait a minute, let me work on this a little. Yeah, like, let me work on this a little bit. Or like you said, I have to have a conversation with somebody, and now you kind of stumbling over your words, or you're not speaking as boldly, you're not playing as hard. We've all been there and have done that before, but it is so important. So Melissa, what would you say to someone that is fearful? That I'll take it back. I'll dial it back. Somebody that knows that something is holding them back, right? And like, you have these goals. have these ideas. We don't run short. Most women, in particular, it's not that we're not ambitious. It's not that we don't have goals and dreams. We usually are the make it happen people in
Right.
our communities. But what is it that hold people back?
It's just the lack of community, lack of support, lack of, they have the ambition, but I really it's that worry, like the overthinking.
Mm,
That overthinking, overdoing it. They usually say go with your gut. We have intuition, and follow that intuition. And sometimes when you don't have that support in that community where you can bounce ideas off of, like, I'm thinking of this. What do you think about that? And starting out, it's hard because you might be the only one in your family that's starting a business, and everyone's looking like, what? No,
yeah.
it's 9 to 5 and sit down somewhere.
Ooh, I would
Um,
love that.
okay. Okay. So it could be hard to have that community. And so I think that's what stops some people of upon the fair, is like, but wait, what do I do next? Who can I go to? Who can I consult with? And that becomes a whole big mountain of worriness. Um,
Ooh.
and you're trying to climb over it, and you don't know how to get over that hump.
Man, you are so spot on when you talk about community. I'm thinking of all of my biz buddies and biz besties that have held me up and hold me down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to, and hopefully she'll see this. I know she's not here with us live, but when we share this out, I hope she has an opportunity to hear this. I never forget. This recently happened. Someone, a very good business friend of mine, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, what's going on? This is your, I'm checking for you. Like, I want to know what's next, because I love what you do, what you've been doing, and I want you to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just checking in because I need to make sure that you are continuing to do this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And although the plan was already in motion to continue to do it, it made me feel good to know that if that somebody that's holding the gap for me,
Yeah.
during the real times that we all face, where you, me, anybody else can be either busy with something or need that reminder, like, hey, the world needs this, the world needs that. That community is powerful.
Yes.
And it is the difference maker between somebody. It can legitimately be the difference maker between somebody actually hitting their personal, professional, business, monetary, weight loss, whatever goals. If you try to do it alone,
Mm-hmm.
you really are like decreasing your likelihood of success. It's not saying that you cannot be successful, but nothing like that community to, like you said, to be able to bounce ideas off of someone or have that transparent moment where you can go into this zone with people that get it. And it's not that your loved ones don't love you or don't get it, but these people will respond to you and react to you in a different way, because you all have a similar vision. It may be different businesses or different goals, right, but you all get it in a different way. And it's nothing better than that power of community. And I'm never going to not have a community. Like, I'm not ever, once I got connected and clear, like, I always had great friends. Shout out to all of my day ones, like my sandbox besties, my girlfriends that I grew up with, right? Love them, and they are still here. And some of them get to hear all my crazy ideas, right?
Right.
But then also the biz buddies that I also have that are standing in the gap or clear on, we could talk about business models and we can nerd out on those details of launch dates and all of those things.
Right.
Career transition. I'm just so happen to be in a space where I'm helping people transition on their terms from their careers. So we can have those candid conversations about, well, what's the difference with you and your coworkers? You're going to work and you're an entrepreneur or entrepreneurial, and they're not, and you're struggling and stressed every day. So what is going to be different for you? And having that real chin check conversation that's going to help you move the needle. Like, that's what's so super important. All about community, connections, and really having that those resources that will hold you up even sometimes when you don't even know what you need.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's exactly what we've created with ourselves. From we were in a community of Clubhouse
Yes.
back in, gosh, November. I feel
I
like
don't even,
it's
I
been
don't even know anymore.
back in 2020. Um,
Way back then,
right,
last year.
right. And that's what we're really trying to do, to help others really show up and be ready. And so if you see on the screen, we have no excuses or results, because Kim and I has similar personalities where it doesn't matter what's going to pop up. That's not going to be an excuse to stop the goal of, well, I'll guess I'll do it another year or another time. No, we're going to push through and we're going to get some results.
Absolutely.
Not some, all results. We're going to get all results.
All the results, all the things. That's right. I love that. You're so right. I mean, because you have all kinds of people with all types of situations, right? You have the married mom, the single mom, the professional, the person that's working full time and building their business, the person that's a full time entrepreneur, the person that the mom, the person with no kids that may be trying to figure out what's happening in their life. So many things can fill up your life and dilute your vision when it comes to your dreams, your goals, your specific things that you've really said one day that is real, that you want it for yourself.
Right.
And they can easily turn into or become excuses. And you hit the nail right on the head when you said that, I think where the synergy comes in is that we're so much alike with no excuses, right? And we could easily have so many. Because I know from me, I mean, and I know from you, how many calls have we had where the kids are a factor? I'm trying to, connect with my son and help him navigate things. Same thing for you. Any of these things, and we love our kids, love our babies, but anything can be an excuse.
Easily.
No excuses, all results, and you can be human in it. So it's not to pretend like we are not real and that we don't give ourselves grace, but there's a way that you can do it where you can still hit your results and you don't let certain things get in your way.
Absolutely.
And so I'm so excited about what we've created. So Melissa, do you want to share how we can have these amazing ladies join us?
Yes. So I want you guys, and we'll also put it in the comments as well. I want you guys to head over to bit.ly link, bit.ly/no excuses, all results. Join us for our masterclass on March 18th at 8 p.m. So, and we did that time because Kim and I are both moms, so we know with kids. So there's, when we say there's no excuses, truly there's no excuses. She's a mom. She is closing on a home. I'm a mom of two, and husband, third child. So divorced, married. We are covering the whole playing field. So all of that excuses, there's none. You need to be there, and it is free. All you have to do is register. So head over to bit.ly link/no excuses, all results, because we want you to go there, register for our masterclass. Will be happening on March 18th. But we also want you to join our community on Facebook. If you just put in the search box, no excuses, all results, you'll see our beautiful picture pop up. And we're there, and join the community. We're definitely going to be feeding the soul, and making sure that you guys get what you need on really pushing forward through this season. We know 2020 was a big slap. Some people fell and they never got back up. Some people bounced back halfway. They kind of halfway sitting up. Didn't get all the way up yet.
Right. They're getting up. They're getting up. They're making their way.
We want to make sure that even in a pandemic, Kim and I have been very successful, and we want to help and reach back and help those to really get and push through that barrier as well.
I love that. Melissa, this is definitely prime time, right? It's like really do or die. right? In so many ways, because we know what 2020 brought to us, and nobody in January or February knew it was coming. What if you wait one more minute and you know you have a dream, you know you have a goal, you know you have this mission, you may have started it and stopped. Maybe 2020 knocked you off your feet, or maybe you didn't even get started, or maybe you started and all of those things that we talked about that can happen to all of us kicked in, whether it was the imposter syndrome, or you may hear some people thrived in the pandemic and it may not have been your story, or in the reverse, you were thriving in the pandemic, but something else just knocked you off balance. This is the time. We are really on a mission to help women really reach their goals, no excuses, all results. And again, it's not about being rigid and being unrealistic. It's about that tough love that we all need sometimes, removing the experience, not removing the experience, but removing the excuses and building in community, because that community is what keeps you going and keeps you moving. So we would love to see you at the masterclass. Melissa, I cannot wait until we get this going. I know we got some great things going for these ladies, and it's just been great talking to you tonight. I know we're going to talk a million times over again, but I had to say that publicly because I always enjoy chopping it up with you.
Yes. So guys, make sure you head over to the link, and we will be talking to you guys soon.
Bye. Everybody.